Hi guys, this is an edited re-upload of a video that was taken down for a copyright infringement. I showed a clip that was too long of a Futurama video playing on the FMV module. So it's the same video. If you've seen it before, there's probably nothing for you. I had this backed up though, so if you're new here from the Amiga crowd, here we go again. Hi guys, I don't think unboxing and review type videos are ever going to be my thing, but this one's special. And you probably already know what it is. The video has a title. It's the full motion video cartridge for the Amiga CD32, which is an MPEG-1 decoder, allows it to play VCDs. In this case, more an eBay unpackaging than an unboxing, because you're not going to find this new. And yes, this one is from New Zealand, and I've just ripped off my name and address and the sender's name and address in fairness.
Commencing unpackaging. Unpackaging in progress. Unpackaging complete.
There's some corrosion on top of the cage which suggests it's been installed in a machine because the top part is exposed to the vents in the top of the CD32 enclosure. There's a plastic part missing that finishes off the enclosure because this fold-back connector replaces the stock expansion port cover, but fortunately I've got another one because this isn't my first FMV cartridge. But then I shouldn't really even be using that because I plan to use this with an SX1, which allows the installation of the FMV cartridge as well. Although I'm recording this audio after the fact, these are the anxious moments before the first power-up. I've chosen to use what I call Amiga number 2 just because it was the second unit that I purchased that I still own today. Because I'm using a stock CD32 power supply, I'm going to remove the SX1 module and just use the FMV cartridge by itself with its own fold-back connector. The very last part of mating the edge connectors, I'm not showing you just because I need two hands for that, so that was done off the camera. The first movie I tried is called Frequency, and that was chosen because I mentioned I've bought one of these before and it didn't end well. And the problem that the last one had was most prevalent with this movie because it has dark scenes. When I say dark scenes, I mean literal dark scenes, of course. The last one had a blue tint over full motion video, and also messed up the colors whenever it was installed in Amiga, when the Amiga was generating the video. So we have a nice looking menu screen with nice colors, nothing wrong with that. And here's an image of what the last one looked like, and this video is actually produced by the Amiga. This background and the text all exists in the Amiga's memory, and if you pulled apart the ROM image of the FMV, you'd see this. So I can select the largest track to play, the longest one, and start it. And what we'll begin to see is that the blacks are black and the whites are very white, which is a good indication that the colors are good. Now, at the time I was recording this video, I didn't have the audio from this CD32 plugged into the monitor. This video starts off with some solar flares, which sets the scene for an amateur radio freak event. Then we'll see a fire engine, but it's not very big on scenes that have green colors specifically, so I quickly tried another video after this, which was Futurama, a cartoon, because I want to see green. I want to see all the colors work well. My first full motion video cartridge I purchased between mid and late 2016, and you could almost get it viewable with the full motion video with extreme adjustment of the monitor. But then of course if you switch back to any Amiga, it'd be a mess again because you've changed the monitor settings, and even worse if it was the Amiga with the FMV installed because it was messing up those colors as well. This will be a more familiar screen, and this is actually what the Amiga looked like with the old FMV installed and the colors set normally, so the blue is missing out of Amiga generated video. Here's the hardware MPEG decoder chip from C-Cube Microsystems that makes the FMV cartridge possible. It was one of the first of its type, if not the first of its type, even though this sort of VLSI is commonplace now. It's almost an expectation for a system on a chip-based platform to have built-in hardware codecs. But I'm sure it was a big deal at the time. You can see this example, a CD player proudly boasting the C-Cube because it can play video CDs. In a nutshell, as far as MPEG-1 decompression goes, this chip is doing all of the work. The Amiga CD32 can't decode MP3 audio, let alone MPEG-1 video. So long as the CD32 with its CD drive and processor can push out MPEG-1 data to the chip fast enough, the chip will output 8-bit by 3 color channel video to a video DAC. Fun fact, C-Cube Microsystems developed the JPEG file interchange format to make JPEG compressed imagery transportable between platforms so we could share images of cats. It would have been a big deal for them to push their product, the launch of the CD32 and the FMV module in late '93, with the C-Cube Microsystems company going public in '94. A C-Cube rep made the trip to the Pasadena Commodore Expo to demonstrate to the public the FMV module for the first time. The CD32 console itself was still being developed in '93, but I imagine it had already been unveiled because there's no mention of it in the notes for the Commodore Expo. The GUI at the time for the FMV player was multiplayer.
No, it wasn't.
It's a CD player as well with a spectrum analyzer, and I doubt they ever got the spectrum analyzer working properly because it never made it to the official ROM. There's a version still out there, and the spectrum display still doesn't work.
I got that working later anyway.
Interestingly, it does know the total time of a VCD, it just won't play it. It makes me wonder if the black developer version got the CD player GUI.
It didn't have the spectrum player, it was written in March '94.
It came up on eBay last year and I missed out.
We'll save some money,
okay,
you
we're
moron.
up to the MPEG decoder pushing out decompressed digital video data to the video DAC. That's an 8-bit wide bus for red, green and blue, totaling 24 bits between them. ST Microelectronics is probably a more familiar name, so the video DAC's job is not only to convert digital to analog video, but also to switch between the MPEG digital video and the Amiga analog video. The CD32 has to produce video as well. This video DAC has a digital input and an analog input and an analog output. For switching between the FMV menu, which is generated by the Amiga, and the MPEG decoder's digital output, the FMV video DAC has logic inputs to switch between the two. It's an odd approach to move analog video around like that, but even when the FMV module is doing nothing and it's just connected, video has to be output from the Amiga's video DAC through the expansion connector and into the FMV module's video DAC, back out again through the expansion port to the Sony video encoder, all that so the system as a whole can decide what is going to be output from the video output connectors at the rear of the console. I got spares for the ST Microelectronics video DAC in the FMV module because I was pretty sure it was the problem with my first one, but I was incorrect. I did manage to actually change it and did that again. Didn't wreck the thing anymore, but yeah, still had the same problem. Back to this FMV cartridge purchase recently. These screenshots are taken with the color set normally, as I'd usually use the Amiga. This is where some nice clear video was being shown on a Sony PVM Trinitron, but that's been cut out and I'm showing you some ceramic capacitors that are damaged in FMV modules. Since the time of the original upload of this video, an FMV module has sold for the CD32 at half the going rate because it had a problem described in later videos in this series. There's a few demos of this module floating around on YouTube, and I was watching a few while I was drooling over them. 22 likes. Come on, Amigans, I thought we were a family. If you like this video, go over ahead and give that one a thumbs up and subscribe. Subscribe to some Facebook and forums about Amigas where you'll find out plenty more. I'm not sure where the following effect happens, but the datasheet for the video DAC gives a clue that it can mix analog and digital signals. He wasn't lying, the gen locking works, and I didn't have to muck around with the RAD disk because I was able to use the SX1. It'll be interesting to see just how multitasking the CD32 is while it's playing the MPEG video.
prepared for today's final exam.